If you want to be a business owner, a lot of our clients can actually remain at home. Franchising changed my life in many ways.
Before you explore franchise options, take a few minutes to understand how you are wired. The assessment link is below. Welcome to Franchise Focus. Today, we're talking about one of the most established and recognizable brands in senior care, Senior Helpers. If you looked at the space at all, you know demand is only growing, but what separates one brand from another comes down to structure, how they approach specialized care, and how you actually build relationships in the community. I'm joined by Annie Long from Senior Helpers to break down how this model works, what makes it different, and what it really takes to grow a successful business. So welcome, Annie. How are you?
Thank you, Laura. Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing well and super excited to be on here today.
I'm really looking forward to this. This is a unique perspective. Annie is both a franchise developer and partnered with her husband in owning a business. But give a little background about yourself, how you got involved with Senior Helpers, and then how you guys came to own a Senior Helpers.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to. Believe it or not, I actually got a degree in legal studies. So I did that for a couple years out of college. And man, it was not my cup of tea. I was a baby in the corner reviewing confidentiality agreements. And if you know me, I'm a very social person. Then went into work in health insurance. And my husband had a exciting job opportunity that led us from Pennsylvania to Maryland back in 2018. I had just had our daughter, thought that I was going to be a stay-at-home mom, and quickly realized, man, I just miss people. So 5 months into that, I enjoyed my time being home with her, but was looking for my next opportunity. Posted my resume online, and I had a recruiter reach out from Senior Helpers. And I'm like, you know what? This sounds really interesting. I was always very close to my grandparents growing up.
Hmm.
And I saw that there was a need there for in-home care services. Started in 2018 in a coordinator level role. I got really good on the phone and helping to land a lot of candidates on my boss's pipeline. And he saw that I was great in the sales aspects, started to develop me into a sales role. So now here I am about 7 years later as a senior director of development at Senior Helpers. And just last year, my husband bought a franchise. So we are all in on Senior Helpers. We eat, sleep, and breathe it at our house.
I guess you do. I guess you do. What led to that decision, and how's
Ah.
that going?
It's funny you asked that because actually in 2018, my mother-in-law was also diagnosed with early onset dementia. So not only did I work for Senior Helpers, yeah, but we even have a great Alzheimer's dementia program. I was able to take
Hmm.
advantage of that program, help coach our family on ways to care for her. And just going through that personally, you really
Right.
understand that need for in-home care, and she was able to get care in the home, remained at home with an in-home care company. So with my husband, he was actually working in corporate America. He was a CFO. Prior to that, he worked years in banking and sales management. So he had really great experience for business ownership, and he always wanted to own a business. We honestly did not think we'd be able to make it happen this early
Right.
in our lives, but glad we were able to. So we started talking about, hey, what about franchising? He looked at different opportunities, everything from smoothie bowls, acai, dog duty companies. And he kept saying, well, what about Senior Helpers, with my mom and everything going on? What about Senior Helpers? And so I actually made him go through the same discovery process my candidates go through.
Yeah.
It ended up being the perfect fit. I'm so glad that he did it, and he's doing phenomenally well now.
That is fantastic. That is so
Yes.
fantastic. And how long? So you guys have been open for how long at this
So,
point?
May will be 1 year that we've been open.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
year mark, and it's been, quite the ride, quite the adventure, and it's really changed our lives. We were even able to take a trip to Costa Rica this year in February.
My gosh, I just went last May. I absolutely loved it. Yeah. What a great
Yeah,
place
we
to
loved
go.
it. It's amazing. So much
Yeah.
fun, so much wildlife there.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so that's great. That's a great perspective for people that worry about, getting into business. Will you have the flexibility? Will you have time for vacations, time for your family? That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Give you that flexibility and freedom, that's for sure.
So for someone just thinking about, getting into businesses, or maybe they have had some personal experience in the senior care area, how do you describe, what Senior Helpers does so they get a
Mm.
pretty good picture of that?
Yeah, yeah. So we do in-home non-medical care. So I like to explain it as it's an alternative. Instead of going into like a nursing home or assisted living facility, people can actually get care in their home. And that's exactly what we do. So as an owner, you truly get to be the CEO of your business. You're going to have office staff to help support you. And then you're going to have a staff of caregivers, and they're the ones that are going directly into that home, providing that one on one care. We do everything from companion services, so meal preparation, feeding, laundry, like housekeeping duties, running errands. We do personal care, helping with bathing, dressing, diaper changes, toileting, any type of personal need that they have. And a lot of our clients can actually remain at home. They never have to go into a facility. So we work closely with hospice and in-home health companies.
Right, right. Okay. And talk a bit, you mentioned you've got a specialized program for Alzheimer's, and I think there's one for Parkinson's. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got a phenomenal program. It's called Senior Gems, and it's an award-winning Alzheimer's dementia care program. We're the only home care company that's partnered with Teepa Snow, and she is an occupational therapist. She's an expert in this space. So with this program, we train our caregivers the characteristics for each stage of dementia, and then we also teach them strategies and techniques in caring for those seniors. That's a really amazing program we have. Next one is Parkinson's care. So this one's endorsed by the Parkinson's Foundation. And we created that with a leading expert. Her name is Becky Dunlop, and she's an RN from the Parkinson's Center of Excellence. So with that program, it's a highly qualified training program that we have to train our caregivers. And I will go into more detail too, Laura. We even have training centers at all of our office locations because a common question that comes up from family members is, well, how are you training your caregivers? Oh, we've got a hands-on training center right here in our office location.
That is fantastic. Okay, that explains more. I mean, because
Yes.
that strong training, it's got to create stickiness for caregivers that want to work there, where they can have some of these additional opportunities, and
Yeah.
for development, I would imagine, right? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And that's also what makes Senior Helpers Great Place to Work certified by the Great Place to Work Institute. And that's for 7 years in a row now. So we're a destination for those caregivers looking for employment that want additional training, they want to feel valued. So happy to have that certification.
And people have always been concerned, but I think less so now. I think it's starting to get more readily available to find the caregivers. But how do you coach your franchisees to recruiting and finding them?
Yeah, yeah. So we've got some really great programs in place to help our owners. So every owner is going to get hierology, and that's an applicant tracking system. So any caregiver application coming in is going to funnel into hierology, and that's going to be the one-stop shop for hiring and recruiting. So what it does, it'll automatically text and email the candidate to set up an interview, and whoever's doing your hiring and recruiting, it will link it to their calendar. So they're booking those interviews right away. So that's one key factor we have to help them with their onboarding and recruiting. We also sponsor Indeed job ads for every single owner each month, and that's continued and ongoing support. So on average, each owner is getting 70 caregiver applications each month. Now, is everyone going to be perfect? No, they do have to kiss some frogs to get to the right one. But with that amount of applications coming in, it does really help with that hiring recruiting. We've actually seen a change too, where we're getting the applicants in. We're now more focused on quality caregivers and getting that quality in place.
Fantastic. Wow, that's really great. Can you and talking about so we talked about the caregiver side, the sales side of things. How does someone start in this business, and then how do they continue to scale over time?
Yeah, yeah. So with this business, it's going to be key to have like a sales and marketer. Either the owner can do it or they hire somebody. It kind of depends on the owner's role. So that's the nice thing is you could either do sales and marketing or operations, and they're going to hire the opposite person to do, the opposite of what it is they're doing. Now, with that sales and marketing piece, we've got a really great referral blueprint training program. So we train all of our owners on how to get out there and network because although we do lead generation, the best referrals are going to be from skilled nursing facilities, hospitals, social workers at the hospital, doctors' offices. So we've got excellent training to help prepare that owner or their team member on how to get in there and build it. And this model, it does grow and scale quickly. So senior care is very high demand. You don't have to have a huge client count because it's recurring revenue that you're getting with this model.
So, where do owners typically maybe underestimate what it takes to build those referral pipelines?
Yeah, yeah. So I will say owners underestimated if it's somebody that's a little bit more introverted, they would definitely need to hire somebody to do that sales and marketing because they will struggle a little bit. You have to be
Hmm.
outward, you have to be comfortable, you got to be boots to the ground. And to build that up to, we recommend going out at least 3 times a week in that market, the whole day going out there building those referral sources because your business will take off a lot quicker if you do that.
Imagine. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and how does that translate into additional referrals or client retention? Do you see a correlation there?
Absolutely. So I'll just give you an example. Like one of my husband's biggest referral partners is a hospice company, a local hospice company. And we see it happen all the time where that client and their family has a positive experience with our company. So then they may know somebody else that needs in home care and they tell them, hey, contact senior helpers. They've done a great job taking care of mom or dad. And we've seen that happen, plenty of times too in just the last year, people that had that positive experience. And then the referral partner knows that you're taking good care of their client. So they're going to keep sending you more people then too.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Is there a typical mix of people in terms of stages or, 24-hour care versus several hours, or does it vary a lot by franchisee?
Yeah, there is. So at Senior Helpers, we even have a program. It's called Flex Home. So that is no minimum hours. So every other home care company has a 12-hour minimum. With Flex Home, they can get as little as 2 hours of care each shift. So, maybe 2 hours, 3 times a week, where every other home care company is saying, hey, sorry, you have to do 12 hours because that person may just want to test the water. So before we know it, that turns into a client that loves the services, they enjoy the caregiver, and then they're getting 30 hours of care each week. Now it is kind of all over the board. So we've got some people, just getting like, 12 hours, a little bit under 12 hours. The average person, the average client is getting 26 hours of care per week. Now we do also see 24/7s too for people that may be on hospice.
Right. Okay. Hospice or what about dementia clients too?
Yes,
They need
absolutely. Yeah. So with dementia, the family doesn't want them home alone. They could get out at night, things like that. So we do have some dementia clients getting that 24/7 care.
okay.
Yeah.
Um, so once a location is stable, once you build out, is it typically the first year that's a major build for the referral partners, or I guess how does that scale afterwards? What is the focus of a owner?
Yeah, yeah. So in that first year, that's typically the prime year where you're growing those relationships, you're out there networking. We do see it snowball by year 2 and 3, where your role as an owner will change. And for a good reason, you're going to have more flexibility and freedom. So we do have org charts built out for how many hours you're billing. And depending on what your role is, if you're more operational, it's going to be
Hmm.
designed to hire people around you that are going to be more focused on the marketing and sales piece. So that's going to help you with the hours you're billing to continue and grow and scale your business. So, for example, my husband initially was in sales and marketing and then realized, you know what? I don't really like this piece. I kind of want to be more operational. So he's already grown to his business to where he has a virtual recruiter doing all the hiring and recruiting for him. He's got a sales director that's out there sales and marketing every single day, a scheduler coordinator and then also a care team coordinator too. So, you can grow and scale it pretty quickly, and we're going to help you with who you need to hire too.
What's been one of the biggest, so you've been in this for 7 years, but what's been one of the biggest surprises for you on the ownership side that you're like, "Oh, I maybe didn't see that as a franchise development person,"
Hmm.
in terms of the benefit or the challenge or both?
Yeah, yeah. That's a really great question.
And maybe there doesn't have to be. Maybe
Well,
you know.
I'm like, I can't really think of anything that's like surprised me. I can
Right.
think of like specific owners and situations where I'm like, scratching my head, like, hey, I'm sure you probably had this experience too, where you tell someone it's a owner operator model and they still want to, work the full time job. But this is, no surprise. I will tell, each kid is
Yes,
straight up, it's a owner operator model.
it
This is
is.
going to replace your income. It's going to need your full-time involvement to take off.
No, absolutely, absolutely, and even interesting when you said, your husband thought he was all about the sales, but wanted to transition into the operations. So
Yeah,
wonderful
absolutely.
that he's built it so he has that flexibility. And yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And some owners, you think you want to do one thing and you end up liking something else more. And that's the nice thing with your own business. You get to be the boss and change what you want to do.
yeah. What's it like to find some of those positions, those key add-ons, if you will, the sales director or the recruiting specialist?
Yeah, yeah. I will say, like, overall, it's been pretty easy. With my husband, he's been able to hire, people within a couple weeks. We do highly recommend taking your time with hiring, making sure you're getting the right person in the right role. So we have a saying at Senior Helpers, it's hire slow, fire quickly, especially when it comes to your office team, because that can really hurt your business. Now, that actually makes me think my husband did make a mistake. He hired somebody in an office management role when he first opened his business, and it was a horrible hire. And you never know, sometimes they sound
Mhm.
great, they sound amazing in the interview, but it ended up not being a great fit. And he probably should have gotten rid of her a lot sooner than he did.
Yeah.
So, make sure you take your time with hiring, getting the right person in the right role.
That is fantastic advice because I've seen that happen to so many people. I mean, many people that I have placed in a variety of franchises that
Yeah.
I come back and talk with them and they're like, I took too long. The franchisor told me to do it quickly and
Yeah.
I didn't. And, just, I don't know if it's from fear or just learning, but
Yeah.
it's an
Yeah.
expensive mistake, but I think one everybody has to make.
Exactly. Sometimes, some people learn the hard way, and I actually happen to be one of those. I learned from mistakes,
Me too.
unfortunately, but
Me
hey.
too. I think a lot of people do.
Yep,
What
yep.
what have you seen from the top performers that maybe others don't do that helps differentiate?
Okay. So this question is like, such a great question. I love that question. The top performers, the one thing that I see that's the most different among these people is they just have a grittiness about them. They have that drive for success and they're going to get it no matter what. They will not stop. So that is, I mean, it's not rocket science. It's just they have that certain grittiness about them. They're going to do whatever it takes. They're going to do the sales. They're going to do operations. They're going to do whatever it takes to be successful. And those are the top performers is they can be a little bit aggressive because they have that can do attitude. They just will not give up.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Who's the ideal candidate for senior helpers?
Yeah, ideal is gonna be somebody that first off likes people. They enjoy people, they like managing people. They have a sense of like community and belonging. They really want to give
Mhm.
back to their community and make a difference. They make amazing franchisees because they truly care about the services they're providing and how they're helping the community. And also it really gets people excited when they have that passion of wanting to help others and they're going to be happy with what they're doing every single day. Now, I do see people with specific types of background that get into this industry. I see a lot of people coming from operations, from management, sales, HR. I see people from the healthcare space, a lot of
Mhm.
RNs. We've had doctors, chiropractors get into this business too.
Yeah. For people that are concerned about that, though, I've talked to a lot of people and they're like, do I need to have, a healthcare background? And I always tell them no, but, you
Yeah.
need to be able to follow a process and you'll be able to talk to people that don't. But in terms of your mix, what do you think? How many probably do have a healthcare
Yeah.
background? Do you have a certain idea of a percentage mix?
Yeah. So I would say about 90% of our owners are coming from corporate America where they do not have any healthcare background. So that's really good news. And you're spot on, Laura. You don't need any type of medical background. We're going to train you. You're going to be an expert by the time you go through our training. You're going to know exactly what to do, how to run your business. So that's the good news there is no medical
That
experience
is
required.
helpful to be able to share with them when I'm showing this.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's really great. What do you think people's biggest misconceptions are when entering this space?
Yeah, I'd say a big misconception is one thinking they can be like semi absentee. I mean, it's just not true. They're going to really slow that ramp up period. Another misconception would be that there's like a client ferry that's going to drop off clients. Like, you do have to
Never.
yeah, you do have to actually have a salesperson out there. I mean, I have heard of owners growing their business like solely on our lead generation, which is great. It's phenomenal, but that's usually not the case. So have a strong sales and marketer out there.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You know,
But I think it really comes down to the qualifications that you're taking people through. I know you do a wonderful job educating people along the way. And so just, and then they'll be able to talk to other owners to see if it's a strong fit.
yeah.
Anything else that you would want to really highlight about senior helpers and what it's like to be an owner of this brand?
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, being an owner is rewarding in so many ways. Our franchisees love that you really get to make a difference in people's lives. You get to help your community, not only with hiring and recruiting, but really changing family members' lives too that are going through a very challenging time. If you like people, you're going to love this franchise model. Very rewarding. It's also mission driven and it's for profit too. So you can really change your life with this business model. You can leave a legacy for your family. I've seen so many success stories with our franchise owners and people that, are able to then become semi absentee with this model and they're able to take that vacation. They don't have to worry about money. They can drive that Porsche or Range Rover, whatever dream car they have. So this can really change your life. And I know that it can be scary and intimidating getting into
Hmm.
franchising where you're paying a franchise fee and you're not guaranteed any money. But
Right.
if there's anyone to bet on yourself because you only have one life. So you need to
Yeah.
live that life. If you want to be a business owner, get into franchising. It's just the way to go. So many systems and processes there. And I will say franchising changed my life in many ways. So I'm so glad that I stumbled into senior helpers and, now my husband's building this amazing business and we can
So
have an
amazing.
amazing life and leave a future for our daughter.
That's fantastic. How many units are you guys up to now or locations?
We have 430 locations across US, Canada, and Australia.
Oh, you're in Australia too. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And how many more can you add?
So we still have 600 territories available in the US.
No joke.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We've got a lot
Wow.
available still.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yes.
Thanks again. I really appreciate it. One last question. When someone's going through this, what do you hope they're asking you along the way? What's one of the major things that's important that you're
Yeah,
looking for?
yeah. I would ask me about like culture, culture fit. I think that's really what it's all about, especially with
Hmm.
the senior care space, is
Hmm.
getting into the right brand because there's a lot of home care companies out there and every single one is different. So just get to know the brand, get to know the team on the meet the team day, join our validation calls, ask for validation. We've got so many amazing owners and everybody's there to help you too.
Yeah. Yeah, I always tell people you're not just getting support from the franchisor, you're getting support from other franchisees, and that's hard to quantify, but
It
it really
is.
can help you propel your business. Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah, and even our annual conference each year too, I mean, We had a record-breaking attendance last year. We had over 640 attendees. Franchisees come, yeah, spouses come, our team comes, and the energy at the conference, it is phenomenal. Everybody's so positive, so excited, so happy to be there. We call it our franchise family.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, Annie. I really enjoyed having you here. This was a very informative podcast today.
Laura, thank you so much for having me. I've always enjoyed speaking with you. And anybody
Yeah.
looking into franchising, get in contact with Laura. She is the matchmaker when it comes to franchising. So I appreciate you having me on today, Laura. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.